Hi, I'm Chef Raphael and welcome to a new episode of Cooking with Chef Raphael, a show that's all about bringing cooking back and making you a better home cook. Today I'll show you how to make fish fingers with tartar sauce. Let's get started. For the ingredients, we need a fish fillet. What I have here is Nile perch, but to be honest, you can use whatever fish, white fish you have. To make the coating for the fish fingers, some 2 eggs that have been already mixed, flour, all-purpose flour, breadcrumbs, salt and pepper as a seasoning. Now to make the tartar sauce, I need some mayonnaise, some gherkins, some capers, lemon juice, and I'll also add some chopped onions. Now, starting with the fish is starting with a nice piece of fillet, and what I have here is good thing about this one is I'll literally just cut it into fingers as it is, but the idea is to try and find one that is evenly sized. So that you have even sized of fish fingers. And also when it's being cut, try and make sure that it's the same width, because that's what will make it uniform when you're making your fish fingers. The first thing I need to do is season my breadcrumb. Add some salt. You also do the same to the flour. And to the fish. I love black pepper, so I usually add a generous amount of the same. And then you still do the same thing to the breadcrumb. And maybe a little bit more on the flour. The idea is that if you don't season your flour and breadcrumbs at the beginning, what will happen is that even if you season your fish, and the coating doesn't have any salt, what you'll have is tasteless fish fingers. Now when it comes to the whole setup, when it's breadcrumb, you need 2 hands, or if you are 2, it makes it easier, because one will handle the wet ingredients, that's the eggs, and the other one will cover the dry. But if you're alone, just make sure you use one hand. So using the dry hand, touch the flour, and then shake off the excess. Using the other arm, remove the excess egg and then dip into the breadcrumbs. And then the next stage is now using your dry hand, dust the breadcrumb, and there you have it. That's my fish fingers ready, but you can leave it like this with one coating. What I will do now, what I'll show is how to do a double coat. So what a double coat is basically returning the breadcrumb piece to the egg and then back to the breadcrumb. And what you have is a crunchier finish to the fish fingers. Mind you, that is optional. So the fish fingers are ready, breadcrumbed. Now you can actually freeze these ones or put them in the fridge and fry them on another day. So these ones will be deep frying them, but before we deep fry them, I'll show you how to quickly make tartar sauce. I'll start with the onion. Remember I said I love adding the onion. So that's 1/4 of an onion, and then the capers, about 1.5 teaspoons. And then the gherkins. Gherkins are basically small cucumbers that have been soaked in preserved in vinegar. I'll add my homemade mayonnaise. Remember I said at the beginning of the video that I have a homemade mayonnaise video that you can watch and learn how to make your own homemade mayonnaise. Now this can stay at this consistency. I like the amount of the condiments that I've added, the onions. Don't want too much. Mind you, lemon juice is good because this is a fish sauce. So the lemon juice will go very well with the fish. So that's what you want. Now this is the sauce that will serve with the fish fingers. And now we go and fry the fingers. And one thing about deep frying, I always like repeating it, is you need enough oil in a big pan. Whatever size of pan you use, just make sure that the oil is enough to deep fry, because the word deep frying is you need a lot of oil so that when the fish or whatever you're deep frying gets into the oil, it actually is in the oil. And then when the problem when you're having little oil is that, especially with something like fish fingers, is that they'll all go to the bottom, and what will happen when they're on the bottom, they will actually start cooking and burning on the bottom if the oil is not enough. So make sure that the oil is deep enough for whatever you're cooking. So the fish fingers are ready. What I've done is just need to arrange them nicely, and this is why we need to cut them evenly, because they look uniform. And serving it with the tartar sauce. If I bite into one, as you can see, it's cooked on the inside and it's still nice and moist. And this is what I was saying, if it's too big, what will happen is that on the inside it will still be raw. By the time the browning of the fish fingers of the bread is there. So when to eat is just dip into the tartar sauce and So I hope you've learned something. I've been your host, Chef Raphael. I hope you have subscribed to my channel, because if you haven't, just subscribe so that you know whenever I have a new recipe out. You get a notification on your phone, and you also see the rest of my videos that you probably haven't seen before this one. So until next time, goodbye.